Okay, so we're back with our last video here for our snow day. So this is the very front of the packet. If I have it zoomed in, but if you look at it, this is the page we first started with. You'll have this filled in. Over here, you'll have filled in from what we did when we first started this. So we know what the answers are going to be, but the idea is we want to do it without the graph now. Okay, so we're trying to solve this equation, which you already know how because this is what we did in the last video. We already put the steps down. Okay, so we're going to solve this one algebraically. So this is actually a nice, easy one to factor. Again, we're finding the horizontal intercepts. So we're finding the x-intercepts, which is why it's set equal to 0. All right, so the leading coefficient is a 1, so that's good. That makes it easy to factor. The one side is already equal to 0, so that part's done. So I'm just going to start factoring that. There is no GCF to pull out, so I'm just going to start unfoiling. I know I'm going to need x and x. That's the only thing to make x squared. I need a 5 and a 1. And I need the 5 to be positive and the 1 to be a negative, so that when I FOIL out, I get a middle term of positive 4x and not negative 4x. So let's set each one to 0 like we did in the last video. So when I solve this, I'm bringing over the 5. This work I don't always show, but I just want to make sure you see where I'm getting a negative 5. And I add over my 1, and I'm getting a 1. So that should match exactly what we did on the left in class a couple days ago, where we found the two horizontal intercepts to be at negative 5 and 1. Okay, so now just find a blank spot. I can't remember if the back page of this packet is blank or not. You could also just take out a piece of paper. The next slide is just going to be one more example. Okay, so let me just zoom this out a little bit. Let's see, this one's not moving. Well, I think I just did it a little bit too big. So what this is supposed to say on the top of this is find the horizontal intercepts of f of x equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 8. Okay, so we're trying to find the horizontal intercepts. Remember, the vertical intercept is just that plus 8 in the end. That's where it crosses the y. So for horizontal intercepts, we're going to set f of x equal to 0. So it's going to look like this. You know how to do this graphically, and now we know algebraically. Okay, so I'm not going to put anything into the calculator. We could use that as a way to check, though. So before I start factoring this one, I really don't like to factor when that leading term right there is a negative. It really changes the whole way that we've kind of thought about factoring. So once I have it set equal to 0, I can't in the beginning just go and change signs, but once I have it set to 0, I can rearrange algebraically. I can bring I can just bring everything to the other side, which essentially just changes the signs, and it ends up looking like this. So the x squared is positive on the other side, the 2x is positive, and the 8 now is negative if I just move things over to the other side by addition subtraction. And that's what I'm going to do, because now look at how easy my factoring is. Okay, don't lose that equal 0 there. This is a nice basic one to factor. I need numbers that multiply to 8, that combine to a 2, so that's 4 and 2. The 4's got to be positive, then 2's got to be negative, so that they multiply to a negative 8. And when I FOIL it out, the middle term comes out to be a positive 2x. So we'll set each factor to 0. So if I solve this equation right here, I'm going to get x to be negative 4. If I solve this equation right here, I'll get x to be 2. So the horizontal intercepts, as ordered pairs, what we found was that it crosses at negative 4, 0, and it crosses at 2, 0. So a really good way to just kind of practice this with this one is, now that we found the horizontal intercepts, go and find, without the calculator, find the vertex using negative b over 2a, the y-intercept, and put all your points together on a graph and make sure it should be opening down, and all your points should kind of fall together, you know, to form a parabola that's opening down and going through all these intercepts. And that would be really good practice for your tests, because you've got to do these graphing a parabola by hand anyway. Okay, so that's the last video you will have in this packet. you're going to see posted some problems to try from lesson 6. You can check them as you go because lesson 6 answer key is open in My Open Math. And then you're going to have another media example that's going to give you an introduction to quadratic formula, which we'll go over in class on Monday. Okay, so have a great break. Just get all your work done because we've got a full week the week we come back with a test and finishing up everything. Okay, have a good day.